It's a huge challenge, I think, directing a movie of this scale and size. Those big battle scenes. It's a logistical.
Before Antoine Fuqua created cinema's most controversial Arthurian reimagining,
the writing and the director support you and creates that world around you. I can't play heroic.
King Arthur was dismissed as historically pretentious and mythology destroyer. By critics who couldn't accept a version without magic, Merlin, or medieval pageantry.
How many Britons have you killed?
As many as tried to kill me. It's a natural state of any man to want to live.
Animals live. It's a natural state of any man to want to live free.
The cast has finally revealed secrets that will transform your understanding of the film that dared to strip away fantasy and present Arthur as brutal Dark Ages warrior fighting for survival in collapsing empire.
This whole new take on the King Arthur story, then Anton and Jerry came to me, asked me to play it.
The historical accuracy that nobody expected. What most fans don't realize is that King Arthur was based on legitimate historical theory that Arthur was actually Sarmatian cavalry officer serving Rome during its withdrawal from Britain. The film's controversial decision to abandon all fantasy elements in favor of historical warfare created one of cinema's most radical reinterpretations of beloved legend that prioritized archaeological evidence over centuries of romantic tradition. Clive Owen revealed years later his shock at the historical approach. I expected to play the legendary king with Excalibur and Camelot. Instead, Antoine handed me research about Sarmatian cavalry units stationed in Britain and told me we were making historically accurate war film about the collapse of Roman authority. There was no magic, no holy grail, no wizard, just soldiers trying to survive. The actor's surprise reflected audience confusion about the dramatic departure from tradition. Antoine Fuqua disclosed his extensive consultation with historians and archaeologists. We worked with experts who believed Arthur was a real historical figure, a Romano-British military commander leading Sarmatian heavy cavalry against Saxon invaders during the 5th century. The theory wasn't fringe speculation. It was legitimate academic interpretation supported by archaeological evidence of Sarmatian settlements in Britain. The director's commitment to this controversial thesis drove every creative decision. The cast's training with historians about Dark Ages warfare and Sarmatian military culture created authenticity that fantasy versions couldn't match. We learned actual cavalry tactics, studied archaeological artifacts, and understood how these warriors lived and fought, disclosed Ray Winston, who played Bors. The historical foundation made us feel like we were portraying real people rather than mythological archetypes, which changed how we approached the characters and their relationships. The production nightmare in Ireland. The filming conditions in Ireland weren't just challenging, they were genuinely dangerous experiences that created authentic suffering visible on screen.
Not mine. I shall be in Rome.
To find peace, the Saxon will come to Rome.
My knights trust me not to betray them to their enemy.
What the cast revealed about working in freezing temperatures and brutal weather shows how the physical ordeal enhanced performances while creating genuine safety concerns that nearly derailed production. The decision to film during Irish winter in exposed locations created hypothermic conditions that affected everyone. We were filming battle sequences in freezing rain and mud for weeks, disclosed Clive Owen. The cold wasn't simulated. We were genuinely suffering from exposure and exhaustion. Several cast members required medical attention for hypothermia and cold-related injuries. The misery you see on screen was completely authentic. Keira Knightley revealed the dangerous stunt work she performed at age 17. I was doing cavalry charges, fight choreography, and elaborate stunts in freezing conditions while wearing minimal clothing and body paint. Looking back, some of what they asked me to do was inappropriate for someone my age and genuinely dangerous. But the adrenaline and determination to prove myself made me push through situations I should have refused. The young actress's commitment created both impressive performance and concerning safety questions. The practical battle sequences using hundreds of extras, real horses, and authentic weapons created chaos that enhanced realism while multiplying danger. We were doing full-contact combat with hundreds of people and animals in mud and ice, revealed the stunt coordinators. Injuries were constant: broken bones, concussions, hypothermia, and near drownings in the mud. The practical approach created visceral authenticity, but at significant human cost. The PG-13 compromise that destroyed the vision. The studio's demand that Fuqua cut the film from R-rated historical epic to PG-13 commercial blockbuster wasn't minor trim. It was fundamental restructuring that eliminated the graphic violence and dark themes that justified the historical approach. What the cast revealed about the lost footage shows how studio interference transformed serious war film into sanitized adventure. The original R-rated cut contained graphic depictions of Dark Ages brutality that were deemed too intense for mainstream audiences. We filmed incredibly violent sequences showing the reality of 5th century warfare. Beheadings, dismemberment, torture, and mass slaughter, disclosed Antoine Fuqua. The studio panicked when they saw the footage and demanded we remove anything that would earn R rating. The cuts eliminated the visceral horror that made the historical approach meaningful. Clive Owen revealed his frustration with the sanitized final product. The R-rated version showed why these men were desperate for freedom and what they'd endured under Roman command. The violence wasn't gratuitous. It was essential context for understanding their trauma and motivation. Cutting it made the film feel incomplete and emotionally hollow because you couldn't fully understand what they'd experienced. The director's cut, released later, partially restored Fuqua's vision, but couldn't fully recover what was lost. We restored about 15 minutes of violence and character development, but much of the original footage was never finished because the studio cut it before post-production, revealed the editing team. The director's cut is better, but still compromise rather than complete original vision. The cast noted how the PG-13 rating betrayed the film's historical ambitions. You can't make authentic Dark Ages war film without showing the brutal violence that defined that era, disclosed Ray Winstone. The sanitized version contradicted the entire premise of historical accuracy. If we were claiming to show real Arthur, we needed to show real violence. The studio wanted commercial safety more than artistic integrity. The Round Table Knights as multicultural warriors. The casting of diverse actors as Arthur's knights wasn't politically correct revisionism. It was based on historical evidence about Sarmatian cavalry units. What the cast revealed about representing this forgotten diversity shows how the film challenged traditional assumptions about medieval European homogeneity while facing criticism from those invested in maintaining whitewashed Arthurian tradition. The Sarmatian origin story justified the knights' ethnic diversity through historical military demographics. Sarmatian cavalry were recruited from regions spanning modern Iran to Eastern Europe, disclosed historian consultants. These units were genuinely multicultural by necessity, bringing together warriors from across the Roman Empire's eastern frontier. The casting of diverse actors reflected actual historical reality rather than modern political agenda. The actors cast as knights appreciated representing historically erased non-European presence in Britain. My character Lancelot represented North African or Middle Eastern warriors who served in Roman Britain, revealed Iowan Grufford. That history has been whitewashed from popular Arthurian legend, which presents medieval Britain as exclusively white European. Our casting challenged that false narrative through legitimate historical revision. The controversy surrounding diverse casting demonstrated resistance to acknowledging Britain's multicultural past. Critics accused us of political correctness, but we were being historically accurate, noted Antoine Fuqua. The assumption that Dark Ages Britain was racially homogeneous is modern myth. Archaeological evidence shows significant ethnic diversity in Roman military settlements, which our casting reflected authentically. Keira Knightley's Guinevere Revolution. Guinevere's transformation from passive medieval lady to Pictish warrior wasn't just feminist revisionism, it was based on historical evidence about Celtic warrior women. What Keira Knightley revealed about portraying this radical reinterpretation shows how the character challenged both Arthurian tradition and contemporary gender politics while creating controversy around the actress's youth and sexualized costume design. The decision to make Guinevere a Pictish warrior with legitimate combat skills rather than romantic prize represented one of the film's boldest departures from tradition. I wasn't playing the Lady of Camelot waiting to be rescued. I was playing indigenous resistance fighter who could match the knights in combat, disclosed Keira Knightley. The character rejected every traditional Guinevere element except the name. She was warrior, archer, and tactical leader rather than love interest. The controversial body paint costume created feminist debate about empowerment versus objectification. The blue body paint and minimal leather costume was historically accurate for Pictish warriors, but applying it to 17-year-old actress created uncomfortable optics, noted costume designers. We were trying to show powerful warrior woman, but the revealing costume and Keira's youth made it seem exploitative regardless of historical justification. The age gap between Knightley and Clive Owen created on-set tension about the romantic relationship. Keira was 17 playing opposite Clive, who was nearly 40, noted production sources. The age difference made the romantic subplot uncomfortable for everyone involved. The power dynamic was problematic despite both being professionals. The Saxon invasion that reflected modern conflicts. The film's depiction of Saxon invasion and Roman withdrawal wasn't just historical backdrop. It was deliberate commentary on contemporary military interventions. What the cast revealed about the political allegory shows how King Arthur used Dark Ages setting to examine modern imperial collapse and the consequences of abandoning occupied territories. The Roman Empire's withdrawal from Britain, abandoning local populations, mirrored contemporary debates about military intervention exit strategies. The Romans promised protection and civilization, then abandoned Britain when maintaining the province became too expensive, disclosed the writers. The parallel to modern military withdrawals from occupied territories was intentional. Arthur and his knights were local forces left behind when the empire retreated. Clive Owen noted how Arthur's position as soldier abandoned by his government reflected veteran experiences. Arthur served Rome faithfully for 15 years, then was told his service didn't matter, and he should just accept abandonment. The betrayal by the institution he'd served resonated with actual veterans who feel discarded by governments that sent them to war. The character's disillusionment carried contemporary relevance. The box office. Disappointment and cult redemption. King Arthur's commercial failure with $203 million worldwide against a $120 million budget represented modest return that disappointed studio expectations for summer blockbuster. What the cast revealed about the reception and subsequent rehabilitation shows how the film's serious historical approach found appreciation through home video, despite theatrical disappointment. The film's July 2004 release positioned it against Spider-Man 2 and other tentpole films that overwhelmed the market. We were counter-programming the superhero trend with gritty historical warfare, which was risky positioning, disclosed studio executives. The serious tone and lack of fantasy elements made it difficult to market to audiences expecting traditional Arthurian adventure with magic and romance. Critical dismissal focused on the historical revisionism that stripped away beloved fantasy elements. Reviewers who loved Arthurian legend hated our film for eliminating everything that made the myth magical, revealed Antoine Fuqua. They wanted Excalibur and round-table romance, not muddy cavalry warfare and political commentary. Our attempt at historical accuracy was received as destruction of cherished myth. The director's cut, released on DVD, found more appreciative audience willing to engage with the serious historical approach. Home video allowed viewers to watch the extended version that restored violence and character development, noted the cast. The director's cut was received much better because it felt more complete and delivered on the promise of authentic historical warfare. Watch the film again with appreciation for its radical historical reinterpretation, its influence on grittier period cinema, and its attempt to ground beloved legend in brutal reality. Notice how the practical effects and authentic suffering create visceral warfare, and how the political themes remain relevant to contemporary debates about empire and intervention. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into misunderstood historical epics that challenged audience expectations. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest uploads, and let us know in the comments whether stripping away magic enhanced or destroyed the Arthurian legend. At last, the truth.